If you want to win more matches, knowing the difference between offense, neutral, and defense when it comes to strategy is key for you. So we're going to talk about the difference between offense, neutral, and defense and how it can come into play. We're going to use some footage from Love Tennis, so go give them some love. Check them out on YouTube. Great footage that we're going to be able to look at teams practice match play here, I think at Indian Wells. And to start with, let's just talk and kind of define what the difference is between offense, neutral, and defense in the simplest terms when it comes to the idea of control. Offense meaning you're in control of the point, simple as that. Neutral meaning neither one of you or your opponent is in control of the point, and defense meaning your opponent is in control of the point. So we're just going to leave it as the simplest terms when we're kind of analyzing this. And understanding what to do when you're in those situations, offense, neutral, and defense, is key to being able to be successful in match play. It can really make or break you for sure. We're going to look at team here, and this is a practice match play situation, and we're going to isolate this one specific point because there's a couple different things that happen in this point where you can see the biggest differences between offense, neutral, and defense. So from the very beginning, he's going for a return of serve. Now you're going to notice he is stretched out wide. Hence, he's going for the slice ball. He's not completely off balance, like he's not stretched out in a defensive position, but he's definitely uncomfortable. And so you're going to see that his return is a little loftier. It's not knifing the slice over the net, and it's landing decently behind the service line in the court. Now, it's landing in the middle of the court, and that's what I want to discuss for when you're not in an offensive position. So I'm going to call this a defensive position here. He's stretched out. He's not balanced. He is going to get a little bit more loft on the ball. The more defensive position he's in, the more loft you're going to see because the more time you need to recover. And he's putting the ball back into the middle of the court so that he can get the point started. He's not trying to do anything crazy with the ball because he's not in position to do so. Remember, offense is when you're in control of the point. Neutral, not in control. Neither one of you are in control. And defense, your opponent's in control. So unless you have control of the point, you're not going for anything crazy. He's just putting the ball back into the middle of the court deep to get the point started. So after that, you're now going to see him going out for a forehand, and he is definitely not in an offensive position. He's 3 or 4 feet behind the baseline. He's reaching a little bit to the ball, but he's not so far off the court that he's in an extreme defensive survival mode by any means. So he's in a neutral position or so, maybe a little bit under pressure. So he's going to look to go cross court, get in position, keep the ball deep in the court. As you can see, it lands cross court deep. Now, the reason he's going to cross court from a neutral position is because, or maybe even a little bit stretched, I would say it's somewhere in between neutral and defensive position. He's definitely not in control of the point, which is the whole idea of it. But he's not so far outside the doubles line that he can't recover. But he is going cross court because the net is the lowest, it's the highest percentage ball, the court is the longest, it's the easiest to recover because he's going to now recover to the same side of the court that he's on, so he doesn't have to recover to the other side of the court if he were to change direction. He's going back to that high percentage ball area, which is what you really want to do when you're either on the defense or the neutral situation. Now, if he was pulled off way out towards the doubles alley, one thing you would see is the height of the ball would change because he need more time to get back to be ready for the next shot. So the further you are on the defense, the more height you're going to have. But you would probably see him hit a cross-court to mid-court ball still because that's high percentage. You want the less area to be able to make the error. You do not want to be making an error when you're in a defensive position or in a neutral position. Now, if we go to the next ball, you're going to see right from this position, he's realizing, okay, I can either stay here and let the ball come to me, which would be a neutral ball. He's a few feet behind the line, so behind the baseline, so he would have to add some height and depth and probably go back cross court. Or if you recognize the ball early enough, you can step up, take the ball on the rise like he is doing here at chest height, and now you're in a much more offensive position because he's going to be around the baseline area. He can change direction now from that offensive because he's on the offense, and he's going to be able to really penetrate through the ball, taking the ball early on the rise. So, like he does, he goes down the line, changes direction, lands around the baseline area, and this now has changed him to be on the offense and hit the ball deep. You can see his opponent is stretched out wide. He anticipates that and sees that his opponent is stretched. So now he can know that he's definitely going to have another offensive ball where he can come in and take control and go after the next ball and end the point. So we go from being, I'm going to move it back just a little bit here so we can really see the difference. We go from being on a tough return, definitely not in an offensive position. He's not completely neutral or completely defensive, but definitely more of a defensive than he is in a neutral, I believe. Then he's hitting that ball down the middle of the court. Then he's going out wide and he's stretched. Definitely in a stressed position. You can see that his weight is not completely balanced, which is one of the biggest signs of being in a defensive position. From here, he's going to hit the ball cross court, high percentage, then look to recover and take advantage of the next opportunity. The higher level you play, the less opportunities you have to take that offensive side and to really take advantage of the point, change directions, go for the shortest down the line shot. And those are all things that you can do on the offense. When you're on the defense, you're looking to get the ball back in, give yourself height, give yourself time to recover, go for the high percentage cross-court shot. Those are all things that you want to do on the defense. In a neutral position, you still want to play high percentage tennis. You're not in control. And so many times people from a neutral position start to just rail balls and change direction and go down the line, which is the shortest part of the court with the highest part of the net. And you're giving yourself a lot of opportunities to make errors and not a lot of opportunities to make a lot of balls and make your opponent have extra pressure. So again, from this position, he comes up, takes the ball on the rise, is able to be balanced, is able to really put his weight through the ball and going forward into the court, and then anticipate to be on the offense again so that he can come in and actually end the point. So the goal here is that if you want to win more matches and you're running out and in a defensive position and you're going for an offensive shot, you're going to make more errors. I don't care if you make one great, amazing down the line from outside the alley. It feels great. I understand that. I've been there. But to make that 10 times in a row is realistically not going to happen. And so you want to do what's going to give you the most success on the court. And that means under defensive pressure situations, you need to play high percentage shots. Under a neutral situation, you still need to play high percentage shots. In an offensive situation, that's when you take risks. That's when you could change direction. That's when you go after the ball, take the ball early on the rise. Those are all really, really important to understanding how to win and strategically understanding how points are developed so that you can get those offensive abilities and be able to have those opportunities so you can really be able to take control of the point, because that's what feels good when you're out there in those matches and you can take control and you can win more matches and more points.